complicated, but yeah, basically we tried not to disturb him because it was very important that he does his work. So we were trying to shoot in the breaks or like be extremely quiet, not moving. It was very challenging for the film. Yeah, because while the microphones were off, nobody was moving, nobody was talking. Every movement disturbs the habitat. So yes, we tried first to give advantage to what he had to do, and then towards what we were doing, which was like following him.
Somehow it's true. Your presence there modificates what you have around you. Those are very sensitive habitats because human presence is not supposed to be there. We were in the depth of very remote primary forests, and our actions were for sure somehow influencing and changing these environments. But during the 24-hour circadian recordings, I believe most of that part is kind of pure because we set it up, the systems, that the day before, and then we left all the equipment there. And I was there alone for most of the time. We were not shooting while we were doing the 24-hour soundscape recording. So this is somehow something that you can handle, you know, how to be in a pristine environment and try to be as transparent as possible toward the environment. And I must say that their work was very good because they were able to really to disappear in my perception. I was working as I was yes, disappear. Well, I wasn't really paying attention to what you were doing. I was really doing my work, and not the first day, but after a few days, it was nice.
Yeah, it was difficult because every time something falls or something like it.
I'm very familiar with the work of Maura Schaeffer, and I thank you for suggesting this topic because I actually studied in '98, did the master's. Part of a master's with Barry Truax, which is the professor which takes the World Soundscape project that Murray Schaeffer with others founded. And we actually did a festival in Pesaro called Orecchio alla Terra, Ear to the Earth. And we invited people from the Simon Fraser University, which is the Murray Schaeffer, you know, let's say, first experimental studio. And we invited Barry Truax and Hildegard Westerkamp, very important people toward this idea of storing soundscape pieces for future generation to with the idea of knowing the changes over time and also making a trace of what's changing, of course. And so I'm very familiar with the word soundscape and with the World Soundscape project, but this project here takes a specific perspective on the systems, okay? The idea is to store part of the natural systems. And every natural system which is functioning in a healthy way has a very healthy, organized soundscape, which is in equilibrium and which you can immediately perceive. The public sometimes refer as to having lived a musical experience or having lived something which is familiar, but it cannot be familiar. Those primary forests are very far away. So the familiarity relates to the fact that within these sonic ecosystems, there are rules of organization of sound that somehow resonate with our ability of perceiving order and equilibrium and balance. Okay? So this project is taking the same idea of the World Soundscape project of Murray Schaeffer, but extending that toward the ecological and ecoacoustic realm of scientific study and artistic, let's say, dissemination and creative proposition of that. And the design part of this we can show it's this is kind of immediately clear when it comes out. So this is the theater that we are building. Okay, it's a patent, 2013 patent. We have already some demo structures, and we have our own studio for that, where we post-produce the soundscapes.
This is in Pesaro.
This is in Pesaro, exactly, at the Conservatory Rossini of Pesaro, and this theater here is now being built in Italy with the Regione Marche, with a European fund, and it will be traveling in museums to try to extend this listening experience that we had at the cinema as a two-dimensional Dolby surround experience. That's a three-dimensional periphonic experience of the entire perspective that you could live when you are in a forest. And it's, of course, something very different. Because it's, again, a collective experience. It's not like virtual reality, where you stand with visors and with headphones, and you live a solipsistic experience. This is, again, a theater experience. So you are hosted in an environment with other people, and you are entering there in silence and try to connect yourself, to a listening ability that everybody has, but we don't listen anymore. To take the word of Schaeffer, of acoustic ecology, our problem is that our ear is completely blocked, but we needed to block the ear because we cannot listen in a city like that one, like outside. It's full of noises that doesn't mean anything. We live in our sonic garbage. It's completely true. And so we needed to kind of block our ears in order to survive in our cities. So this experience can be an experience to somehow to generate an awareness of another type of community soundscape. But it's a community of other species where we are there just to know how it's possible to I finish, but in a rainforest, every sound has a meaning. Every sound means I am here, I want you, I'm mating, I establish my territory, okay? Every single sound has a function. In our cities, in our soundscape, 95%, maybe more, of the sounds that we hear in our cities don't have a function. It's just something that we don't want.
Noise.
It's noise, it's garbage. So it's kind of an extreme proposition to compare our soundscape and the soundscape where everything has a function. And it's something that we could discuss for another project.